Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Kathy Smyly Miller. Hey, Kathy.
Hi.
Who came in from Jersey, and it's really cold, but that's okay. We're not going to talk about that. Kathy is a teacher of Ishayas Ascension, and we are definitely going to ask her a million questions about that in 1 second. Let me just tell you a little bit about the Coaching Game. The Coaching Game is based on Points of View, the Coaching Game, which is a brilliant card game, for lack of a better description, that was created in Israel by two geniuses. And the whole concept is to bring right and left brain thinking together. And some really amazing things come out of that. Now, Kathy's chosen 4 cards, and she won't tell me why, so we're going to find out. But first, Kathy, thank you for being here, definitely.
Thanks
appreciate
for having me.
the cold schlep over. Tell us, Ishayas Ascension, what is that? Because I had never heard of it until I saw LinkedIn. She has a great LinkedIn page. What is that?
Ishayas Ascension is a very simple meditation-like technique that expands consciousness. It frees the nervous system from stress and allows us to experience joy, not based on outer experiences.
Okay. Sounds too good to be true, but okay, I'll believe you. I've had, and this is embarrassing, I've had a New Year's resolution for 2014 and 15. I want to meditate, and I can't get going. I'm not sure why. I don't plan on meditating for hours on it. How is this different from meditation, or is it different from meditation?
Well, if you had told me before I learned this practice that I was going to be meditating every day for the rest of my life, I could never have imagined how that would be so. I had learned different types of meditation, but nothing that I could really dive into. And so I can understand how someone would have a desire for the benefits of meditation, but not find themselves actually practicing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a pay. I know there's a payoff, actually. I attribute my getting to New York City to meditation. I really do, and that was like 30 years ago. But I can't get motivated, and I don't know why. And maybe it's because I don't know how. Maybe it's not. It's the technique. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. What attracted you to Ishayas? Were you meditating before?
Okay, so I had a lot of practices that had come my way to help to relieve stress or put me in a more positive frame of mind. And I thought I was doing pretty well. And a friend gave me a book called Ascension that she said, I want you to read this book. I'm having a class at my house. Let me know if you want to come. And then she never said another word about it. So I read this book, and everything in the book seemed true, but it didn't seem like new information. And I wasn't really even thinking about going to the class. I just noticed there I was calling her and asking her, Carol, when's that class at your house? And she said, we're getting ready to start right now. Do you want to come?
Okay.
And yes. And I
Sometimes things are better not thought about, yes.
Yes. And I looked at my calendar, and the weekend was open, so I went to check it out. And
That's a whole weekend class.
Usually it's done in a weekend, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Friday night, there is a little bit of an introductory talk. And during this introductory talk, the teacher described what was available through this practice. And it's a very simple practice. It's based on praise, gratitude, and love, which are ascending emotions. Most people are familiar with the downward spiraling emotions. Well, this creates an ascending current and allows us to rise above the conditioned mind, all the habitual thinking that we do. And she talked about how science has shown that we think 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Some studies, I know, some studies actually show 80 to 90,000 thoughts a day. So our minds are very busy, and if you have heard of other types of meditation, this focus seems to be on quieting the mind. Well, if you're dealing with 60 to 70 to 80, 90,000 thoughts a day, I can understand why you haven't been able to get yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It seems, you think you're meditating, then it's like, how do they get over here? It's kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So this practice actually works with thoughts. And it works with simple phrases called ascension attitudes. And I say simple because it's simple to introduce them into our thought stream, but they're actually statements of absolute truth And we explain in the course how the attitudes are formed. And then whenever you notice anything, whenever anything gets your attention, including those busy thoughts, you simply introduce an ascension attitude, a thought based on praise, gratitude, and love. And the attitudes have a particular function. They actually turn the gaze toward that stillness that underlies all experiences, regardless of how noisy or chaotic things seem on the outside. There is this underlying peace that's always available, always accessible. We're just in the habit of looking elsewhere. So the function of the ascension attitude is to turn the gaze. It's mechanical. No belief is required. And so
it's not based on anything spiritual, or is that what you're saying? But when you say no belief, you don't have to believe in the system?
Exactly.
Wow.
So,
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, like electricity, some people know a lot about electricity and how it works. And some of us really don't know anything. But if we flip the switch, it comes on the same way as it does for an electrician.
Okay.
So it's a very simple technique. And
wow, I love that analogy. That's you don't have to know about it, you just have to flip the switch. Yeah.
Yeah, and each time you do, our familiarity with that piece grows, and it's very attractive to the mind. So instead of trying to quiet the mind and push thoughts out, you're just noticing what's coming across your screen of awareness, and then just very gently introducing an ascension attitude, and then letting whatever naturally happens happen. And by turning the gaze, we get to experience that which we're all looking for, we're all craving, we all know it's available. And we're promised through various marketing programs, if you just get this, or if you just do that,
buy this book,
achieve this, then you'll have peace.
Yeah.
And anything that requires you to do something like that is, it's just not necessary.
Now explain to me a little bit, you've used that phrase twice, turning the gaze. What does that mean exactly? Focusing on something else, or not focusing at all, or?
So there is, I think the best way to describe it is there is the essence of what we are, and it's the same about you as it is about me, right? This essence. And it is peace, it is appreciation, it is gratitude, it is love, and it's our true nature. And so that's what we're resting into when we're ascending. We're just turning our attention to what's true, rather than what the mind is busy thinking about all day long.
So in layman's terms, really layman's terms, it would be like turning the gaze to inward you.
Yes, so
or am I missing the whole concept up
yes,
here?
yes, exactly. It's allowing the mind to move inward, where our senses are always pulling the mind outward, and that inward movement, it's attractive. It's delicious, in fact.
Wow, and I know some people go, no, I don't want to look inward, I don't want to know. But you're saying to actually go inside is fantastic.
Yeah, so if we're in the habit of trying to meet certain criteria in order to experience peace, then we're always on trying to do that. We're always busy. And just as we achieve whatever it is, even if it's climbing to the top of a mountain so we can take in the breathtaking view, how long does that last before the mind kicks in again and says,
now I got to get down.
Or what am I going to do next? Or how am I going to hold on to this experience? You know, there's a lot of grasping that happens. But quite naturally, we do experience this peace. And for some people, it's in nature. For creative people, it might be when they're creating and they lose sense of time, and there's an okayness. When we first fall in love, everything's okay. You ever notice that?
Amazing how that happens, right?
It really is. And if you stub your toe, it's no big deal. Yeah. But catch you on a day when the mind is focused on what's wrong, and that's a whole different experience.
So are you saying that we could have every day like a day when you fall in love? Yeah? Oh my gosh. All right, we got to hear more now. Okay, so so you mentioned ascension phrases, beliefs.
Ascension attitudes.
Attitudes.
Yeah.
How many are there? I mean, are these taught, or can we make up our own?
Yeah, so they're taught in a very specific way, and as a teacher of Ascension, I teach the attitudes exactly the way they were taught to me. And in the course, which is called the First Sphere course, you learn 4 Ascension attitudes. And you have time to practice. We show very particularly how each attitude is constructed, and there is a part of the attitude that you customize for you. And that.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, so the way that Ascension works, it really honors the right brain part of us and the left brain part of us. The left brain, which is seeking in a particular way, and the right brain, which is seeking in a very different but very particular way.
Right.
Both hemispheres of the brain, the seeking nature is satisfied. And in that,
okay, I'll buy that.
yeah, there is a relax and a peace.
Now, is this, do you need, how often do you recommend that you practice this technique?
So when someone first learns, we suggest that they commit to a 6-week period of 2 to 3 times a day for 20 to 30 minutes. And this gives the person the opportunity to really notice what's happening. And at first, when stress falls away, you know, there's just an easier way of moving through the world, and you might not even notice the outward changes. It might be first that someone who knows you well notices and asks you, what just happened there, that thing that always gets to you just slid right off.
Are you on drugs? No.
Yeah, they want to know what's going on. You know, people can notice. So that's what was offered to me when I learned the Ishayas Ascension, was to practice for 6 weeks, 2 to 3 times a day, 20 to 30 minutes. And because I made that commitment, you know, I stuck to it, and in a very short amount of time, I noticed that this was beyond any of the stress management techniques that I had been using.
Okay, so that's 20 to 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day, 3 times a day, right?
Ideally, yes.
Okay, now,
and
go ahead.
you can also practice with your eyes open. So the 2 to 3 times a day is, you know, quiet meditation time where you close your eyes, and it can be when you're drifting off to sleep at night. And if you ascend as you're going off to sleep at night, you'll find that your sleep is very restful.
Wow.
And we often hear that reported right away from people, even when they're in the first weekend of learning. That can be noticed.
And is it like meditation in the sense that you need? I know you don't need like candles and Om and stuff. But you need to be quiet. You can't certainly do it on the subway, or can you?
Absolutely, you can.
You can do it on the. Oh, I got to learn this. The subway makes me crazy. Really, with your eyes, well, hopefully with your eyes open, because you never know what's going to happen on the subway. But
yeah, so the position of the eyelids doesn't really matter. So when you notice anything, you think an ascension attitude. And what you notice on the subway will be different from what you notice when you're laying in bed, drifting off to sleep at night.
Yes.
But it is the same opportunity to think an ascension attitude.
Wow, okay.
Very simple.
Again, it still sounds too good to be true, but I'm getting sold here. What made you say, yeah, I'll come right now? I mean, when they called, or when you called and said, it's this weekend, did it? This called me. I didn't even look inside. Someone opened and said, I want to be a part of it. I didn't even see the cards inside yet. Is that what happened with you, or was it?
Yeah, I noticed one of the cards says calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that there was something that I was looking for my whole life, even as a really young child. I can remember, I don't even know how to put it into words. There was a calling. And it got expressed in many different ways until this technique found me. But when something shows up,
that's how I feel like it finds you. Yeah, I mean, you have to be open to the opportunity for sure, but it finds you. Yeah. And you just knew, it was like, I think this might be what I'm looking for.
There was a yes, and I headed over to my friend's house, and then the weekend started, and the teacher talked for about an hour about what they were going to be doing over the weekend, and it sounded great to me. Didn't seem like any harm could come from thinking thoughts based on praise, gratitude, and love.
I can't imagine what it would be, but yeah.
And it is also very affordable, especially.
Yeah, tell us how, I want to get to the cards, because I'm dying to know why you chose these specific cards, but tell us, okay, let's say I'm interested. So I would go for the weekend, or would I just go for the introductory, or how would that work?
Well, either way. So each weekend course starts with an introductory talk that usually lasts between an hour and a half. And then at the end of that part of the weekend, people can decide if they want to stay and learn, or if they want to, they can leave at that time. We take a little break.
Okay.
During the weekend, there is time to learn the practice and to actually practice and become familiar. It's a new habit that's getting developed, and so we have time for that. And it's a very supportive environment. And then when you complete the course, you are considered an advanced ascender.
Really, after the first sphere? I have such trouble with that word, sphere.
Yeah,
yes.
and so there is a charge for the first sphere, and different teachers charge different amounts. We charge $250 for a class.
And that's for the weekend? That is reasonable.
And then once you have completed the first sphere, you can retake the course any time you want with any teacher, and they will not charge you again. So
really,
that was that was very attractive to me when I first learned, and I took advantage of that.
So it's a $250 investment, but it doesn't end at the weekend. You can still get support and more training, or just audit the weekend, so to speak. Yeah.
Yes, you can audit the first sphere, and teachers are available for support 24/7. And I took advantage of that also.
Wow.
Yeah, I noticed things were changing, and the teacher said you can call at any time, and so I did. And it was pretty late at night here on the East Coast, but she was a few hours behind, so I didn't wake her.
Oh, good.
But it's a very sincere offering. The teachers are available, and we also have gatherings where people ascend together. And scientists are studying what happens when people practice a form of meditation together. But particularly for me, I notice that I enjoy ascending with other people, and where two or more are gathered, focused on praise, gratitude, and love. That's an attractive.
How would you have to kill me if you told me one of the ascension attitudes?
I wouldn't have to kill you, but
good. But you're not going to do it. Okay.
I'll be glad to teach you. We do offer private instruction if ever people cannot attend a weekend for some reason. We can schedule it out, but it's available.
So now there are classes all over the United States. I know some states are missing. I checked it out, and New York is one, believe it or not. But you're in New Jersey, which is not across the world.
Yeah, I teach throughout the Northeast, and I have a teaching partner, and we travel together.
Oh, okay.
And so we usually teach so far Massachusetts and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and New York.
Wow.
And we have some people in New York who are ascending right now in the midst of their day.
As we speak.
On the job, on the subway.
That sounds, it's so enticing, actually, to be able to just, I don't know, focus inward and ascend, I guess. That's the perfect word, yeah.
Yeah.
I would ask you who Ishaya is, but I'm not sure we have time, so we'll just assume whoever he or she is was a pretty smart person. So, do we have time for that? No.
Well, it's not, Ishaya is a knower of truth.
Okay.
And so there are people who have walked the planet fully awake and shared this teaching. And it's available and accessible for everyone. So there are lots of different ways to answer a question about what is Ishayas or what is Ishayas Ascension.
So it's not one individual person. Okay, got it. Let me ask you something, and this is just totally based on me. It's all about me. But it's like, you know, sometimes I find when I've suddenly become aware of something, it's like, oh, how long has it been? And, you know, what if I'd never become aware of this? What is it a constant being aware, or is it just settling down and noticing what is? Is it an epiphany a day, or is it every hour on the hour, or is it just more like being aware of what is and the powers that be? And
yeah, so my experience is that we're walking around and we're looking at life through these filters. And these filters are based on past experiences, things we've learned along the way. And then we think an ascension attitude, and we see everything as it really is.
I love that.
And then the mind starts to,
Closing
it has
again,
a habit,
yeah,
and so that habit starts to return, and then again you just think the ascension attitude. And so you have the opportunity to, yes, see things as they really are. And
as you practice, does it like the gap become a little wider, and does it get quite so closed as you go?
I would say familiar. A familiarity grows.
I like that, yeah.
And then you really notice when something starts to draw your attention outward. It's just really easy to
get back in the
think
groove, so to speak.
Think the ascension attitude, and when you do that, the experience is very sweet. Even if you're in the midst of some challenge that you tried to avoid your whole life, there's the part of you that's just resting and just experiencing, just noticing and celebrating.
Wow.
Not resisting, not trying to manipulate anything, just
I'm sold. I don't even know what I'm sold on, but it does call to you. It does. It's like, especially, and you can tell your sincerity in your belief in that this is worth teaching. And obviously, because you became a teacher, I mean, this is not the first spear. This is a spear, whatever. It's not that you had to go on and get more and more training, right, to become a teacher.
Yeah. So I had practiced for a number of years, 2 or 3 times a day, 20 to 30 minutes. And then with my eyes open whenever I noticed. And that practice became more and more a part of my life. And things that I thought were just, we have this ball and chain we kind of drag around, and maybe we try to address it in different ways. Well, all that stuff was just falling away. And it falls away from neglect, because we're no longer feeding
Focusing on it, yeah,
with our
feeding it.
attention.
I like that, yeah, feeding it.
Yeah, so it was just a natural thing that happened. Life opened up in such a way that I could go on a 6-month training. And
Nice.
Yeah, and there are different parts of the teacher training process, and I really enjoyed that, and now getting to come back and share this with others the way it was shared with me.
I think that's the great part of anything, is being able to share, believing in something so much that you want to share it. You feel that other people need that. You want to give them what you have, which is so fantastic.
Yeah, there's a there's a believing in something, but there's something that we share that we know, that you recognize, and we can look at that together. And so my beliefs they don't really matter. If this experience calls to you, then you learn and you have your own experience. And I might give you some information based on my experience, but what's going to be valid for you is what you notice when you practice.
Cool. All right, tell me what freedom. This is the freedom card, and it's like a boardwalk where you can choose anything you want. It's all there. What's freedom have to do with Ishayas Ascension?
Well, freedom from stress, freedom from limiting beliefs, freedom from have-tos, shoulds, and even wants.
Ooh, wants, okay.
Yeah.
Have-tos and shoulds, I've already got, I know I shouldn't be dealing with have-tos and shoulds. But wants, that's interesting, okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. In this coaching game, we spend a lot of time focusing on what it is we want to create.
That's the hardest question in the world. It's like, what do you want? And people look at you like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, and now you're saying, who cares?
Well, there is something that we really want, and it's could be described, peace,
but we already
freedom.
have it. Yeah, we just have to access it. No?
Stop ignoring it.
Ah, okay. I like that better than
and
access
sometimes, especially in this culture, what gets our attention is what we want. And that's always in the future. I have to do something. I have to work at it. And, you know, what's the gift of life is here right now.
Yes.
Only right now.
Exactly. No guarantees. Oh boy. Okay. So we've got like 2.5 minutes left.
Oh,
which
time
I
flies.
know. We're gonna have her come back and do it again. What other cards? We also have failure. We have judgment, and we have load.
Yeah. So I was attracted to the load card. I don't know if you can show that.
I can show it. It's this poor thing has it's a man with a bunch of stuff on his back, and he's carrying it nobly, but it's a lot of stuff he's carrying around.
Yes, and I think that's the human condition right there. When I saw that card, you know, when I first went to learn this technique, I didn't realize how much I was carrying. I had already, you know, done a lot of things to try to let go, be with what is, all that.
That's what drives me crazy. It's like, I think I got it, and then something else will come along. It's like, you didn't get it. You still have more to do. But I guess that's called life, because my tagline is, life is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the trip. So it's like, you're always learning, and you're always enhancing, and you're always getting rid of stuff, I hope, that you don't need.
Yeah, that can be a really heavy load.
Yeah.
Always trying, always efforting, always reaching for something that's not here now.
Tell me about failure. I want to know about this card. This is one of those, I've fallen and I can't get up. It's a little stick man made out of wood.
I love that card because it looks like a little kid's toy to me.
It does, and he just is on his back, and I don't know if he's going to make it up or not, but.
Yeah, so from the innocence of a child, you know, baby coming into the world blank slate, there is no success or failure.
Okay,
right?
I love that, yeah.
And there is experiencing things, and, you know, a baby starts learning to walk, and they fall down, and they get back up. You know, it's not, doesn't mean anything about them.
Doesn't mean they failed, it's just part of the process.
Doesn't mean they are a failure, or even if, you know, there's just a celebration in that.
A celebration of failure. I love that. No, that's something we need to keep. All right, we're going to make you come back, because she also chose the judgment card, but we don't have time to talk about it, so that means you have to come back. Oh, I guess that wasn't her favorite card. I want to thank you, Kathy Smyly Miller, for coming and tell you that she has a great LinkedIn page, but you can also get to her and the Ishayas Ascension on agoodsteward.com, and you'll see it at the bottom.
.net.
I'm sorry, goodsteward.net. You would have found it anyway. No, maybe not. But anyway, agoodsteward.net. And she has some very nice videos and CDs on her. So thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Laurie.